Hey guys, Trip here, and today I want to talk about a little MMO called The Secret World. Never heard of it? Well, most people haven't. It's a shame too, because despite its relative obscurity, The Secret World is one of the most intriguing, unique MMO experiences I've ever encountered. I was going to make this an episode of my Games You Should Be Playing series, but I don't think it's that simple. I reserve that series for games that I overwhelmingly think are worth your time and money, and I'm not sure if I can say that for The Secret World. But does this game deserve to be the footnote in a saturated MMO market? Is there any merit to this otherwise un-noteworthy game? Why did it never catch on? Well, let's take a look. Now, for this episode, I'm going to be focusing less on the actual gameplay and more on the atmosphere, tone, and the IP itself. Speaking of which, this game has one of my favorite IPs ever. I love this world. For those who don't know, The Secret World takes place in an alternate version of our own world, which is controlled by secret societies like the Illuminati and the Templars. Every conspiracy you can think of, no matter how ridiculous, is true. All the world's governments are puppets. Vampires hang out in dingy London alleyways. Not only is magic real, but it's marketable. It's reminiscent of shows like Supernatural, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, with tongue-in-cheek humor and classic fantasy tropes thrust into modern situations. Each secret society has its own humorous twist on a classic conspiracy theory. I honestly love them all, but my favorite is the Illuminati, who in this game are portrayed as young professionals trying to achieve the American dream by force, controlling the world through business, entertainment, and mind control.
Why are we here? Is there a greater purpose? Who the hell cares?
The lore of this game is incredibly deep and intricate, with so much mystery and so much going on. I honestly have trouble believing all of this was made for one game, and not based on some prior franchise. I love it when fantasy bleeds into the modern world, and this game delivers. There's something I love so much about modern fantasy, the idea of myths, monsters, and legends being formed in an age of technology, music, television, the internet. How do eldritch horrors and ancient demons interact with our modern culture? It opens up the world to so many interesting scenarios, and The Secret World exploits them all. The atmosphere is thick and ever-present. You'll be traveling through abandoned warehouses and dank alleyways, from the eerie streets of New England to the remnants of ancient temples, from European towns overrun by vampires to the depths of hell itself, which in this game is portrayed as a twisted industrial wasteland. Seriously, look at this place and tell me it doesn't belong on a heavy metal album cover. The game also features some of the most innovative non-combat quests I've ever seen in an MMO. Put simply, whenever you're not fighting and whenever you're playing alone, this is one of the best games I've played in years. This is a game about conspiracies, so many of the quests task you with solving puzzles and doing research. These investigation quests encourage you to use the internet and do actual research on ancient civilizations, religious studies, and crazy conspiracy theories. Sure, you can cheat and look up a walkthrough, but where's the fun in that? There are legitimate moments of survival horror in this game, more so than a lot of single-player horror games. One quest, for example, takes you to an abandoned orphanage in London. You slowly discover that the orphanage was the site of numerous abuses and unethical experiments, the entire facility being a massive laboratory that watched the children's every move through one-way mirrors. I don't want to give too much away, but the quest is genuinely unnerving. The puzzles feel like something out of a Silent Hill game, and there is an ever-present threat intent on hunting you down. That's right, this game can be legitimately eerie, even downright frightening at times. It takes a large inspiration from the cosmic horror stories of H.P. Lovecraft, where humans live in a world full of terrible secrets and incomprehensible horrors. So that all sounds great, right? Based on what I've described so far, you'd think this game would be very popular. So why isn't it? Well, to put it simply, this game may be a brilliant single-player adventure game, but every time it tries to be an MMO, it becomes painfully mediocre. It's not even that the gameplay is bad, not at all. It's definitely not bad enough to keep me from playing it, it's just normal. Take the combat for example. When people look into buying an MMO, the combat is one of the first things they'll look at, and often determines whether or not they buy the game at all. The Secret World had no action combat or revolutionary combat system to push, and it's one of the reasons people ignored it. Before the average MMO player even notices the lore, the atmosphere, and the puzzles, he'll realize the core gameplay is pretty derivative and never give the game the time of day. The Secret World feels like a game that didn't want to be a traditional MMO. The best quests are the solo missions. The pace is slow and ponderous. Much of the game's enjoyment comes from its deep lore and humorous tone. If I described this game to you, you'd probably assume it was a point-and-click adventure or a single-player RPG. If the Secret World was going to be an MMO, it should have been a sandbox. People are already sick of the linear theme park MMO, where you're railroaded through a few areas, you level up, and ultimately grind your way through the endgame. The Secret World deserves more than that. A game about puzzles and conspiracies just isn't a good fit for linear progression-centered MMORPGs. The game had the potential to be much more open-ended, more socially driven, less combat-focused. If nothing else, the combat that's in the game should have been tighter, more engaging. It saddens me that this game didn't catch on. Along with WildStar, it's hands down my favorite original IP in years, and it depresses me to know that this world will eventually fall into obscurity. I want a spin-off of this game. I want a single-player RPG, a point-and-click adventure. I want survival horror games. I need this series to survive the inevitable fall of the MMO. So why did I decide to talk about this? Well, when you're making a video game, every system needs to complement itself. The gameplay has to be an extension of the world that's presented, otherwise you end up with an identity crisis. But most importantly, games are full packages. A great IP won't sell a game on its own. Every system has to be tight. Every moment has to be engaging. You can't skimp on one half of a game just because the other half is so great. The Secret World is the story of a game that's fighting itself instead of complementing itself. As a full package, it's just a decent game without a solid identity. That said, I love this game, and I want to bring attention to it because I think it deserves it. Hopefully this IP outlives the MMO itself, and we get to see more of the Secret World. But hey, that's just my opinion. Hey guys, Trip here. If you liked that video, why not watch some more? Be sure to hit that like button and share this video on social media. If you want more Psycho Trip, follow me on Twitter and Google+, and check out my new Patreon as well if you want to support the channel and help it grow. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.